The independent inquiry into child sexual abuse just published a damning report alleging that Cardinal Vincent Nichols, who was the leader of the Catholic Church in England and Wales, repeatedly prioritised the reputation of the Church over the welfare of child sex abuse victims. The 154-page report found that between 1970 and 2015, the Church received more than 3,000 complaints of child sexual abuse from over 1,750 victims and complainants filed against more than 900 people connected to the Church. The report also noted that sexual abuse was a continuing trend, not just a historical one, with more than 100 allegations of abuse being reported every year since 2016. In reference to historical accounts, the report uncovered the Church's maneuvers to protect alleged perpetrators by shuffling them between different parishes while failing to support victims and survivors. It highlights the case of Father James Robinson, who was moved to another parish after complaints were made against him in the 1980s. After fleeing to the US, he was eventually extradited back to the UK and ultimately convicted in 2010 for 21 sexual offences against 4 boys and was sentenced to 21 years in prison. One survivor reported that between the ages of 11 and 15, they'd been abused hundreds of times by a priest, and after every instance, they were required to make confession. Another case was revealed of appalling sexual abuse inflicted upon pupils at Ampleforth College and its adjoining junior school in North Yorkshire. Furthermore, one particular survivor who provided evidence to the inquiry claimed that thousands of pounds had been spent by the Diocese of Westminster to employ lawyers to keep victims at an arm's length while they built their case. Lawyers representing the victims, as well as activist groups and support groups for survivors, have called for the immediate resignation of Cardinal Nichols. As per the Vatican's Code of Canon Law, Nichols did in fact offer his resignation to the Holy See as he was almost 75 years old, but that resignation offer was due only to his age and not due to the surrounding scandals of covering up abuse. Ultimately, the resignation wasn't accepted by Pope Francis, who, in turn, instructed Nichols to continue as cardinal and as leader of the Catholic Church in England and Wales. The report documents a shocking amount of abuse, but also notes that the true scale of misconduct is likely far worse, and that many more cases may remain undocumented. The inquiry was also critical of the Vatican, stating that such transgressions were at odds with papal pronouncements from Rome in 2019, in which Pope Francis asserted there needed to be concrete and effective actions that involve everyone in the Church regarding its approach to child sexual abuse. They reached this conclusion after the Holy See eventually denied providing a witness statement following months of correspondence with the inquiry. The investigative report also coincides with one the IICSA published last month that brought forth cases accusing the Anglican Church of England of prioritising its reputation over protecting vulnerable children from predators for decades.